How about now? You guys hearing me now? I think you are. I can see the I can see the meter moving based on the delay here. Working now? Okay, so strange. I just had to reset something on this end. No clue. No clue, but that's fine. We can edit this for the podcast. So, welcome to another episode of NPC Players Pulse. It's our NSO game of the week. Today's game of the week is Donkey Kong Country 3. I played through the first level. I kept trying to play this game at night before I would go to bed, and I would play for just a little bit, but I've literally been like going hard. And so today, instead of going live earlier, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to play this for, I think I got a good 30 minutes in. So I want to welcome everybody in. How are you guys doing? Welcome. I see Joey and Cryptic and Crimpus and Aaron and Antonio. I think that's everybody so far. If you're just lurking here, welcome. So good to see you. Ryan is here as well. Let's go. Well, let's hit the intro, and then we're going to talk about Donkey Kong Country 3. Okay, well, this week's game of the week, Donkey Kong Country 3, and on Super Nintendo, of course. And I've got some fun facts for you guys, a little bit of the history, the development. So let's jump into this. Ready? Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble. Release date, North America, November 22nd, 1996. Europe, December 13th, 1996. And Japan, December 6th, 1996. The platform, Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Developer, Rare. Publisher, Nintendo. History and development. Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie Kong's Double Trouble is the third and final installment in the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy, developed by Rare for the Super Nintendo. It followed Donkey Kong Country, 1994, and Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy Kong's Quest, in 1995, two titles that revolutionized 16-bit graphics using advanced pre-rendered 3D visuals created with Silicon Graphics workstations. It was a transitional era. By the time Donkey Kong Country 3 released, the Nintendo 64 was already on the market. And in fact, I don't know if you guys noticed or picked up on it, but where you save in the world there, the character that you're talking to is playing a Nintendo 64. At least it resembles one. So I found that to be pretty interesting and also pretty cool. So continuing on here, this positioned the game as one of the last major first-party SNES titles, marking the end of an era. Despite the SNES declining life cycle, Rare pushed the hardware's limits one last time, creating a visually rich and mechanically polished platformer. Your main characters, Dixie Kong, first appeared in Donkey Kong Country 2, known for her ponytail helicopter spin that allows her to glide. Kiddy Kong, everybody's favorite, new to the series, a baby gorilla with surprising strength and the ability just to chuck Dixie way up in the air. Notably, Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong are missing most of the game. The plot centers around Dixie and Kiddy trying to rescue them from the mysterious Chaos, who is ultimately revealed to be a front for Baron K. Rulenstein, King K. Rool's new mad scientist persona. Gameplay and features. Tag team mechanics. Players can switch between Dixie and Kiddy on the fly. Each has unique abilities that are essential for level progression. World map exploration. Unlike the first two games, DKC3 features a semi-open world map with a motorboat, hovercraft, and eventually a gyrocopter that lets you explore side areas and secrets. Brother Bear's side quest, there are 13 bear brothers, each with a cabin scattered across the world. They offer hints, minigames, or items in exchange for bear coins or other collectibles. This added an adventure game style progression not seen in previous entries. Bonus coins and banana birds. Completing bonus stages rewards bonus coins, which are needed to unlock the true ending. Collecting all banana birds hidden in the caves across the map also ties into a secret ending sequence. The setting is the Northern Cremisphere. The game takes place in a new region called the Northern Cremisphere, which includes lakes, mountains, forests, snowy peaks, and factories. It has a distinct Canadian wilderness vibe, a departure from the tropical locales of previous entries. Soundtrack by Evelyn Novakovic. Unlike the previous titles, which primarily featured David Wise, the soundtrack for DKC 3 was composed by Evelyn Fisher, now Evelyn Novakovic. While some fans found it more ambient and atmospheric compared to the melodic tunes of Donkey Kong Country 2, it still featured standout tracks like Stilt Village, Waterworld, Treetop Tumble, Rockface Rumble. Later versions, like the GBA port, brought back David Wise, who composed an entirely new soundtrack for that version. And a quick side note, when you do the first level that takes place in the snow, the music in that level really stood out to me. It really stood out to me, and I really liked it. It wasn't that there was anything bad about the other tracks that I had heard, but that one in particular really stood out. Reception. While Donkey Kong Country 3 was critically acclaimed, it received slightly less universal praise than Donkey Kong Country 2, which many fans consider the peak of the trilogy. Reviewers praise the visual, tight controls, and content depth, but some criticize it for feeling less fresh, especially with the replacement of fan favorites Diddy and Donkey. Still, it sold over 3.5 million copies worldwide, making it a commercial success. Here's some fun facts about the game. There might be a little bit of spoilers here, but again, this came out in 96, so I don't think we have anything to worry about. Alternate final boss. If you complete the game without collecting all the Donkey Kong coins and banana birds, you only get a partial ending. To see the full ending and defeat the true final boss, you must 100% the game. Kiddy Kong's weight is a gameplay mechanic. He can break floors, bounce across water, and throw Dixie across gaps, but his size often makes maneuvering harder. Hidden developer message. In one of the Bear Brothers' houses, if you input a certain sequence on the SNES controller, a hidden message appears thanking the players for playing. Regional differences. The Japanese version has some difficulty tweaks, making certain levels a bit easier. Also, some names and graphics were slightly altered. GBA port differences. The 2005 Game Boy Advance version included new minigames, new soundtrack by David Wise, and even a new world boss. Unused content. Data miners found unused sprites for enemies and Kiddy Kong animations not present in the final game. These show how Rare considered more complex ideas but had to cut them due to time and hardware limitations. Name origins. The villain Baron K. Rulenstein is a pun for Baron Frankenstein and reflects a shift in tone from pirate, Captain K. Rool, to mad scientist. SNES End of Life title. Donkey Kong Country 3 was released the same month as the Nintendo 64 in Europe and shortly after in North America. This split focus meant it was slightly overlooked compared to its predecessors. And this is very true for me. I knew the game was out there, but my focus was strictly on the N64 at this point. The Banana Bird Queen. A surreal addition to the lore, collecting all the banana birds allows the queen to break a magical barrier imprisoning her, adding a mythical twist to the game's ending. Speedrunning community favorite. Donkey Kong Country remains a popular title for speedrunners, especially with glitches like warp barrel warping and Kiddy's water skips. Legacy. Though Donkey Kong Country 3 is sometimes overshadowed by its more iconic predecessors, it remains a deep, creative, and beautifully designed game. Its open world elements, quirky side quests, mix of humor and challenge made it a fitting end to the SNES trilogy. It's also laid the groundwork for more experimental platformers that blended exploration with classic gameplay. It was re-released on the Wii, Wii U, and new 3DS Virtual Console, and is currently playable on Nintendo Switch Online with the SNES Classic catalog. And so we're going to jump into it, guys. I want to hear from you. I'm going to share my thoughts, and I'm excited for this one. I'm really excited for this one. So Game Over Jesse's here. What's going on? There's so many comments already, you guys. Let me get to some of these. So here we go. Cryptic says also playing Mario 64. You can hear the theme. I love that. We have a super chat from Joey. It says Kiddy Kong is the GOAT. If he's in Bonanza, I'll die. I love it. Nady Nay said my clock must be like an hour fast or something. Here we go. So I'm a little bit late because I'm just always late, but I was rendering this video down from a massive file down to a reasonable file that will play smoothly in the B-roll here. So do forgive me. Let's see. Antonio says I haven't played it all the way. It is a must play once I finish my university exams. Let's go. So I will say this. When I first started playing, I was like, it wasn't really pulling me in, right? I was also extremely tired, and like I don't feel like I was really giving it a fair a fair shot. The other thing is that I was not used to the controls. It took me a minute, and maybe you guys can attest to this as well. It took me a minute to get used to like basically not using A but B for everything, and then like trying to figure out which button throws. I also was struggling right off the bat. Like when you pick up a barrel, you have to continue holding down the button and then you let go to release it. So like on that first boss fight, I'm like, yo, this took like I was dying just because I wasn't used to the mechanics of the game. And so after sitting down and playing it for a half hour, I'm like, you know, it kind of gave me the bug again. It really did. And it was super nostalgic going back, because I spent the most time with Donkey Kong Country, the first one, and did not play much of the second or the third. But my siblings loved these games. Like they're in my collection physically because they had purchased them for the SNES that I had left at the house, and they love these things. Like they loved them. So it was fun. And you're seeing the snow level right now, and again, like the music on this one was great. You also, if you watch, the background goes dark and then it starts snowing, and I was so impressed. I was waiting to see if the snow was going to fall on the foreground as well as the background, but it was only in the background. But still, just beautiful detail. One of my biggest complaints, I would say, and you might even see it right here, is like, oh, I did that one correctly. But sometimes the hitboxes seem a little bit weird. And so like, you're like, did I hit that low? Did I hit it high? Like that's probably the only thing that like would kind of wear on me. Is just some of the miss hits from not hitting the hitbox exactly right. And part of that is it really makes you think about the design of Super Mario Brothers, and the way like most characters are shaped in such a way that it allows you to it makes it obvious you're supposed to step on them, where like none of the shapes of these guys are like you don't really look like you would jump on them, right? Like it's just they look awesome, but they don't look like a Goomba. And so I think that's where I might have had a little bit of issues with the hitbox. And again, it could completely be a me problem. Don't get me wrong. And I will say, like, the puzzles and trying to figure out, like, you know, how to access certain areas and do that kind of stuff. I didn't spend a ton of time on it on this playthrough because I wanted to see more levels than just sitting and trying to figure out the puzzles. But the puzzles were very well done, and some of them I just stumbled across naturally. And so as somebody who like really enjoys like collecting the KONG letters or the coins that they have available, like I love that kind of stuff in Mario games, and it is the same for Donkey Kong Country 3 here. Like it just scratches that platformer itch for me, and so I love it. I think graphically too, like just seeing these characters that just look like claymation more or less kind of brought to life. I've always enjoyed that, and knowing that like this game really pushed the limits of the SNES and what it was capable of. Like it was kind of surreal. There was something very nostalgic about going back to this game. Now I will say too, like in this section where you're playing as the elephant, I thought it was a fantastic gameplay choice here where like the elephants actually, like I forgot that like an elephant should be scared of a mouse. Like I just forgot that. And then they don't allow you to even get near a mouse if you can see it in the light. And I was like, that is genius, honestly. Like, again, just not something I was thinking about. And I'm like, why am I not able to step on the mice here? And then it dawned on me, oh, you're playing as an elephant. The elephant's scared of mice. Like, just kind of chef's kiss, honestly. Like, I love that. So I want to take a peek at some of the chats here. Nady Nay, I think we might have hit this one. It says nothing beats DKC1 water music. I've got to go check that out. Joey asked if I saw the Saw level, and I did not. I got to the last level I was doing, I was climbing a tree after World 1. Let's see. Antonio says, I believe that being the third game, once we try this one out, we already have squeezed the DKC formula a lot in DKC 1 and 2, and it feels not as exciting or exotic despite being a great game by itself. Great observation. Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that. I'm not sure if I hit this one. Crimson Blade Dragon says, I grew up on all three. Never understood why 2 was always everyone's favorite. I just love them all. They all have their pros and cons, but any DK after, I could never get into them like I did on Country. Interesting. And I kind of feel that like I feel like the first game, like Donkey Kong Country, I could not stop playing, could not put it down. I think part of it had to do with the timing. You know, it was in an era where like there weren't a ton of games coming out all the time. And so you just kind of, you know, you played what was available. This game was marketed, or the first game was marketed so well, and just, you know, Super Nintendo fans were so excited for it that like I don't know what it was that never really pulled me back in after the first game. But I'm I'm reading chats now that Nate said, I'm glad you didn't read my other chat. Oh, it's always an exciting time here. But again, I personally had a great time with it. I wished I could have spent more time with it, you know, once I really sat down and started playing, and I may try to complete it, because it it pulled me in. It really did. It pulled me back in. And so by the time I got through this like 30-minute play session, I was like, I just wanted to try to get 30. I wanted to try to get to the next save point. I had to use a save state because I was like, I don't want to lose my spot right now, but I needed to be done at that 30-minute mark. And so I was kind of rushing and just trying to get through it. But like, even that level that is like a tree that we'll see at the end of the B-roll here, if we make it that far, like it just, everything looks so good. Like the textures and what is happening in the background, the lighting, like we're essentially playing in a dark, like it's almost like an old, I don't know, old factory or something. And like it's dark except for the few lights that are hanging and swinging. And it's just, they did such a great job even with the lighting and making that come across, you know? So, I mentioned like the hitboxes and stuff earlier, like, jumping with the elephant here is like, am I gonna hit this where I needed to hit this? Hopefully. So Joey says, to me, the original Donkey Kong Country trilogy on the SNES is one of the best platformers around. I'd put them up against Mario. Hot take. So here's what I will say. I mean, I personally, again, just my 2 cents, I don't know, like it doesn't feel as tight, if that makes sense. Like I don't think I'm saying anything negative when you compare it to Mario. It just, to me, doesn't feel like quite as tight, and I would say still has a different feel and even different gameplay mechanics. Like in some cases, if you don't do the secret the first time through, like you've got to start the whole level over again. Right. And so I feel like I feel like they're less about platforming and like trying to avoid like falling down pits. And there's more of a sense of exploration. Like it almost feels more like you're playing a Metroid game in a way, like one of the old school Metroid games, because like you're wandering the level, wondering what you're going to find. And then like we know the gaming tropes and stuff right now, right? Like Mario uses coins, Donkey Kong's using bananas, but in some case, if the bananas are pointing that way, that's the way that you need to go to finish the stage. But if you go the opposite way, you're probably going to find a secret. That's kind of the mentality I had going into it. And so you obviously, you're not going to be backtracking as much in Donkey Kong as you would like a Metroid game. But I did feel like as I was teaching myself or learning mechanics, or even like right there, I randomly threw that barrel and then it made another barrel show up that allowed me to find the secret. Like I don't even know what took place there because I like just ran to that corner and then all of a sudden I had found a secret. And so, but it's learning like those little Kremlings or whatever they are with their shield. I think the guy it was earlier on, you know, it finally dawned on me, oh, you've got to ricochet that metal barrel, and that's how you'll take out the that's how you can hit him from behind so that it unlocks those coins. Now, you guys are going to see that I did not get the G right here if you're watching. And then when I switched to Donkey Kong or what is it, Dixie and Kitty, I was so stoked that I was at the end that I just went, no, I'm good. Even though the G was right there. His name is a coin with a K. I love it. Amazing. So Antonio, referring to Joey's take on platforming, says, honestly, not a hot take at all. DKC as a 2D platformer is just better than 2D Mario. Some Same goes with the newer games. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, I'm here for it, whether I agree or not, but like that's the beauty of these kind of activities, right? Where like we get to see what everybody's into, what people like may like better or not like as much. I can tell you the first few times I fought this boss, I did not like him. I was like, just get in his mouth. I kept throwing him off of his eyes and it was doing no good. So Cryptic says it's almost like the 3D Final Fantasy games where the backgrounds almost look pre-rendered, but they are not in the DKC series and on the SNES. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, graphically, this game is beautiful. Is beautiful. And I love that Joey knows like everything about this game. Like there's no lore that Joey has not uncovered. Belcha, what a great name since they belch. Love this boss. And once I got it figured out and was able to start essentially doing damage or making them go back to the getting enough bugs inside their mouth, I'm like, oh, this is like I didn't mind it at all, and I kind of enjoy that style of gameplay where it's like you've got to figure it out again. For me, like making sure that you're doing the buttons correctly, because I kept picking it up and then throwing it at the wrong time, and again I feel like it is just missing that little bit of tightness that is in the Mario games that kind of adds to a level of difficulty that isn't in the Mario games. Not a bad thing though. Not a bad thing at all. So Joey says, I am a walking Donkey Kong Country encyclopedia. I love that. Well, if you guys got any final takes on Donkey Kong Country 3, let me know in the chat, and we will wrap up here shortly. Again, kind of my just final thoughts on this is like it was a pleasure to go back to this series that I've always loved. I've always enjoyed. I just didn't spend as much time with as I probably should have. And again, it has kind of rekindled my my love for this series, and I'm very curious now to like not only like I really should play the trilogy all the way through. I don't think they're like super hard or take a super long time to do. And like from the boss design, the level design, all that kind of stuff, there's a whole lot of good here. So I do have a little like a fun little fun story with Rare. I met them at E3 2017, and they were promoting Sea of Thieves, but I talked to one of the like longtime developers who like has been at Rare for a very, very long time, and he gave me his card, but he told me, he's like, I worked on the first Donkey Kong Country. Like I was there for all that glory, and I was like, yo, that is amazing. Like that was a game I couldn't put down, So hearing him talk about it was super, super cool to kind of get a little inside baseball, if you will, on this series. Taking a look at chat here. So Joey says the best boss in the game is Bleak. It's a snowball fight. I love that. Antonio says, isn't somewhat DKC3 the first collectathon game ever? I don't know because I remember you would collect like the letters for Kong in the first game. But as far as like the coins and stuff like that, it may be something that's relatively newer, one of the first. That's very possible. I would have to do some research on that to find out for sure. Joey says, can we also notice how well Rare was at making games? Oh, no question. they've always had just a super just a strong handle on how games can look and run on Nintendo hardware, going all the way back to games like RC Pro-Am and all on the NES and Battletoads. Like so good, just so good. So they've when Rare was purchased by Microsoft, it was a very sad day for me. Like, they were my saving grace on why the GameCube would be better than the Xbox and the PlayStation and everything. And then they got sold, and I was very sad. I was very, very sad. So Nate says Rare was the best development studio, and that's because GoldenEye. There you go. There it is. I was waiting. Joey says, on a side note, this looks like let's see, about Star Wars. On the side note, with Star Wars Battlefront 2 having a resurgence, what are the chances we can get it ported to Switch 2? Fingers crossed. I really hope that's the case. I see Maria is here. What's going on? Welcome on in. Cryptic says, final take, Joey is wrong and Kiddy Kong should be banned and canceled just for looking ugly. Wow. That is that's the take. That's the take. Oh my god, Krampus out here trying to get himself banned from the chat is crazy. Brian says pre-render graphics for the win. Let's go, baby. Let's go. And we got Krampus saying, let's not forget Rare made Diddy Kong Racing, which is better than Mario Kart 64. That's what I feel like. This is bait. And then Cryptic says, also, can we get King K. Rool? Can we get K. Rool in Mario Kart World? We need a whole Donkey Kong world, my friend. We need a whole Donkey Kong world. Nate says, is there reasons they can't have Kitty and Diddy in the same game? All right, guys. With that, thank you for hanging out and playing this week's game of the week. We were gonna do a Sega game, so for you Sega fans, I'm sorry. It's nothing against you, but this is the week that Mario Kart World is coming out. Or this upcoming week. So we're gonna get a little history lesson with Super Mario Kart. Super Mario Kart will be our game of the week. So we're gonna add a little twist to this. Add a little twist. Time trials. We are going to do is it Mario Circuit 3 that is on 8? We're gonna time trials Mario Circuit 3 in Super Mario Kart. Also, try to do the Grand Prix. Let me know what you guys think about the controls. Remember to use your D-pad as often as you can. Okay. So, but that will be in next week's game of the week. Going to be really, like, the history of this game is super, super fun, and where the game has gone over the last 30 years. Crazy. So, got it. Hopefully tomorrow night there will be another NPC with the guys. Johnny was at the Super Nintendo World this last week, so fingers crossed. I got to see if they are able, but that's the hope. But yeah, so with that, remember, guys, if you want to be a part of the game of the week, the Discord is a spot to go and chat about stuff. This is going to continue to evolve and get better and better, where, like, I'm going to start promoting it more on socials and trying to get as many people as possible to jump in and play these NSO games, because I think there are a ton of gems, and we're gonna find them all. So thanks again for being here, and we will see you in the next one. Bye now.